On a freezing winter night in Wisconsin, a disappearance began to haunt everyone involved, not with screams, but with the terrifying silence of a woman named Nikki.
Yeah, I didn't want to sit there, and keep trying to interrupt his timeline, I didn't want, I didn't he should tell the story. But, a couple of I don't know if he was just too drunk or, just the whole situation is freaking him out that he's not remembering it.
Doug you're talking about?
Yeah.
Was he at the same house that you were just at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was talking to the officer inside.
Okay.
I mean, he's the one that's filing the report.
Right.
But.
Okay. And he was talking to the female officer from County?
Yes.
Yeah. How long have you guys been friends?
Since we're both 16.
Okay.
Probably half my life. More than that.
Yeah, we're not locked in.
No, I don't think we're locked in. I hope not. Hopefully we both got phones we can call and get out of here. So obviously we're probably just going to ask you a lot of basic questions to start out with here, and then we'll get into the details. But last night I heard you guys were talking about how long you've known. What's your friend's name?
Doug.
Doug. Okay. And how long has Doug, well, how long have you known, what's his girlfriend's name?
Nikki.
Nikki?
Probably about a year.
Year.
Year and a couple months, maybe.
And how long has Doug been dating her?
About a year and a half.
A year and a half.
Yeah.
Are those two live together, or?
Yeah. Yeah, she must have moved in maybe a year ago.
And they have a child together?
Yes.
How old is their child?
6 months.
Boy, girl?
Boy.
Do you know the child's name?
Dylan.
Does he have any other children, or does she have any other children?
She's got two, a boy and a girl. I haven't really ever met them, but they are there from Monday night to Friday morning, and then they go with the dad from Friday night to Monday morning. Yeah.
You know the dad?
No, I've never met him.
Does he live here in town or in the area here?
They're saying Little Swamico, just from
Conversation?
their statement that I heard him giving when they were asking about it. That's the only thing, though, that I've ever heard.
Now, how close of a friend are you with Doug?
I mean, pretty close. I'm a
Pretty
best
close?
friend. I mean,
Best
I've known him
friends?
for, 17 years.
Okay.
I mean, we have a bunch of our friends that we've been friends with for that long, but,
She said 17 years you've been friends with
I
him?
mean, 16 years old.
Nikki was once a devoted mother living by natural principles, refusing C-sections, believing in breastfeeding and purity. But now that same woman was the center of a night no one could comprehend.
34 now. I mean,
Okay.
long
It's
time.
a long time.
Yeah, I've known him for a long time.
Okay,
I've known
now,
his family forever.
Nikki and Doug have been dating for a year and a half. As a personal friend, what is your thoughts of their relationship? I mean, do they have a...
I mean, it's good. I mean, it's a relationship that started because she got pregnant, like the first time they met, but
So that's when the
he wants to make it work, and, she wants to make it work. So, I mean, they seem, they seem good together. She's a good mom. She's super proactive with, I mean, that's why this whole thing is so scary, is that when it comes, like, breastfeeding and stuff like that, like, she is, like, really, like, natural and holistic with her approach to, like, when they were having the kid, there's no way that she's going to let them do a C-section, she prepped herself, and, that's why this thing is kind of really crazy that she hasn't come back.
You ever notice them arguing or fighting at all?
I mean, they fight like any other couple, I guess, but, I mean...
When you say fight, verbal?
Yeah, I mean, just... I mean, the only 2 times I've really seen them fight are both times that she's drank, since I've known, in the beginning she was pregnant, so obviously she wasn't drinking, and then once they had the kid, she wasn't drinking because of breastfeeding. But we went out for the Packer-Cardinal playoff game, and, you know, she got a little weird, you know, that night, and she tried to run off. It was like 30 below out, and her jacket was in my car. I was their sober ride, and I went to let my buddy's dogs out because he was out of town. He was skiing. And I was like, you know, I'm going to come back and pick you guys up. You know, just let me know. And she decided she's going to run out of the bar. You know, it's kind of, you know, it's similar to this situation that's happened here, except for that the cops caught her right away and, like,
Where was that?
detained her from the Bar East. She was running across, you know, on Lime Kiln across Mason, saying she was going to walk home, you know, and she's dressed in nothing, you know.
The police were called that time?
They weren't. They saw her,
Okay.
and they detained her, and then let her go back with Doug, and the guy, one of the guys at the bar, ended up giving them a ride home.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, Nikki's in the cop car, and I'm like, are you serious? Like, I'm coming back to pick you guys up. Why? You know, like, it's not that. We weren't even driving. It's not like either of us were driving. I'm like, really? You have a sober ride, and you're going to go. But, I mean, that's what ended up happening. She decided she was going to walk home. 20 below, you know, I mean, it was really cold that night.
She had only drunk twice in her life. Both times ended with bizarre escapes in minus 30-degree cold. It wasn't anger, it was chaos, like she was running from herself.
And it's kind of...
So you don't have a lot of experience knowing her.
I mean,
before she got pregnant, when she was drinking a lot or anything.
I mean, I don't know.
It's just kind of
that she was drinking a lot, but
normal activity when she drinks.
She just was. I mean, the only 2 times that I've seen her drink in the year that I've known her. And both times kind of resulted in her, like, just taking off, like she can walk. She's like, oh, I was from Denmark, I'm tough, I can walk in 30 below in a skin-tight mini skirt with no jacket that's sitting in the back of your car. And I'm like, Nikki, a girl just froze 2 weeks ago. A girl died leaving a bar, you know. I'm like, you think that you can walk 5 miles to get home? And it's like, there's no way. But that's, you know, a weird delusion of grandeur that we've, you know, saw that time, and, man.
So she's a walker.
I mean, yeah, she thinks she can just walk, you know, wherever, but...
Is it usually because there's some kind of an argument or something, or does she just,
no,
she just wants to go, and if nobody's ready, she's leaving?
She just gets a little weird when she drinks. I mean, she does get strange. She starts not making sense, necessarily. I have a buddy that got diagnosed with schizophrenia a couple of years ago, and we tried, like, everything to help this guy and, like, keep him social and keep him out, you know, and active and being around people, and it became impossible. And sometimes I see, like, some small glimpses of similarities when it comes to, you know, drinking, because for him that was the main problem, where he'd have a drink, and all of a sudden he'd get very strange, you know, and nobody'd want to be around him. You know, but he's a 230-pound guy, and it's different when, you know, you're a 140-pound girl with big boobs, you know. It's not that same situation that you run into, you know, where people are uncomfortable. I mean, I see a little bit of similarities once in a while between, you know, not when she's sober. I mean, she's pretty normal, but when, you know, those times that we drank, I mean, I see it, you know, I see the same thing that I would see happen to him a little bit. I know she's not on medication, and,
I was just going to ask, you don't have any meds or anything
no,
that she's on?
I mean, she's not on any medications. I mean, when she's sober, she seems normal, you know, she seems fairly, you know, there, but just from trying with this guy so hard, that, you know, he was another friend of ours that we were friends since we were 16, and all of a sudden when he's 31, he turns into a crazy person that you can't be around, you know, trying to start fights with everybody, and just saying things that don't make any sense. And I mean, I would see it a little bit, you know, come out of her.
Getting into a little bit of last night, what,
So we...
How did the night start? How did you guys all get together?
We were all going to Steel Panther.
Okay, who
at
was
the
all?
watering hole. a big group of our friends, but Aaron Klinsky, Darcy Lipsky is his fiance.
How do you spell Aaron's last name?
Kulinski.
Okay, who else?
Darcy Lipsky.
Someone once compared Nikki's behavior when drinking to schizophrenia. No one dared diagnose it, but each time alcohol touched her lips, another Nikki seemed to awaken.
Lipsky?
Yeah, I think so. Crystal Kane.
Crystal?
Yeah. Kane.
Okay.
Mike Gillespie.
How do you spell his last name?
I mean, Gilliesp. Man, that'd be my best guess.
We'll guess that. Who else?
Angela Cormier, that's Crystal Kane's sister.
Crystal Kane's sister?
Yeah, Crystal's married to a friend of ours, but he has back problems, and he's been like bedridden the last 4 weeks, so he couldn't come. Courtney Gerlikowski. And Scott Peterson. Not to be confused with the other Scott Peterson that we
And,
I don't think he was at a conference.
No, right? I don't think
So-
he was on the Steel Panther last night.
And obviously you and Doug and
Nikki, yes.
Nikki.
That group and I had all met at the same place, and we went there together.
Where'd you guys meet at?
Well, Mike drove all of them, and I drove my car. We met at Angela Cormier's home. And then Doug and Nikki met us there about 20 minutes after we arrived. We got there probably at like 7:30, and they probably got there at 8.
So you guys got there at 7:30,
Yeah.
and Doug and Nikki?
Yep. They got there at 8.
Okay. So then how did the night progress from there?
Man, we were having a good time. A close friend of mine, her husband was opening for Steel Panther, and I hadn't seen her since she got married, so, you know, everybody's having a good time, we're catching up, and the concert ends, and I don't know why Nikki ended up leaving with our group of friends and not leaving with Doug and I. I don't know if she was just like swept up by the group and jumped in the car with them. They were going to go to the sardine can.
So who all rode together to the sardine can?
All of those people on that list besides myself and Doug.
That night, friends gathered at a rock concert, old pals' loud music excitement. But in the middle of it all, Nikki suddenly left Doug, the father of her child, and got in a car with someone else.
I mean, I think all the rest of them. Jesse Cutler had showed up. That was a girl that might have also got it. I mean, he's got a big SUV, but I'm assuming that nobody else there had a vehicle unless Jesse had a vehicle.
So who drove?
That Mike Gillespie drove all those people to the concert from our original spot that we were at.
Okay. And he drove everybody down to?
I'm assuming that he did, yes. So when Doug and I were about to walk out, we saw an old friend from high school, and we started to talk to her and her husband for a little while.
Okay, who's that?
Angela Fatla. She's got a different last name. I'm not sure what her husband's last name is.
How do I spell her last name?
Fatla, I think, yeah. So we were talking to her, just catching up for a while, and we were probably, we probably were there for like 30 minutes talking to her. And our group of friends that were at the watering hole, they texted us like, hey.
But they had already left.
They were already, yeah,
Okay.
They had left 30 minutes prior to us actually walking out and leaving. So I think what happened is when we walked out the door, Angela had called Doug to see where we were, and Doug answered the call. And I think that Nikki had tried to call him before that, and then she was angry that he didn't answer her call, but he answered Angela's call when he actually heard it because we were walking out to the car to leave. And at that point,
Doug stayed behind chatting with an old friend. By the time they exited the venue, 30 minutes later, Nikki had vanished. A quick phone call not to check in, but to confirm a fear neither of them wanted to say out loud, Nikki was gone.
I think she, they were on that outdoor patio at the sardine can, so it's kind of just like an open door to go out. And from what I heard was, that she's like, I'm leaving, and she started walking, and our friend Aaron...
And this is, where were you guys at this time?
We were in the watering hole parking lot at that point when this happened. So...
What time was this about?
I think probably like 12:15, maybe a little earlier, 12:10, that we were walking out to go to the sardine can. So our friend Aaron tried to stop her. He's like, what are you doing? You can't just run off, just wait, they're on their way here. So then Doug's calling her and talking to her, and she's, yelling at him, and, why aren't you here? Are you with some girl or something? She's getting a little crazy. And, Aaron had texted either Doug or I saying, she took off, I tried to stop her. So, Doug, she hung up on Doug, he called her back.
Who hung up on Doug?
Nikki.
Okay.
Because at this point, we knew, she wasn't at the sardine can. And so then, the next call, I pulled in and I parked my car, and I'm like, Doug, hand me the phone, maybe I can talk to her.
And what time was this at?
I think this is the 12:30, that this third call.
You called?
No, he had called, but I could hear her on the phone kind of yelling at him. I said, just give me the phone, maybe if I talk to her, I can, have her let us know where she is so we can go and pick her up.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked to her, and she wasn't making any sense. She was accusing me of being Doug, pretending to be me. I'm trying to be logical and rational, and just be let us know where you are. You can't just go walking around, we'll come and pick you up and we'll go, we'll go back home. And then the call, I don't know if she hung up or the call cut out, but then after that, every time Doug had tried to call, her phone was off. It went straight to voicemail. So I don't know if her battery died right then when I was on the phone with her, but when I was talking to her, she wasn't really making much sense.
Did any of the friends say which way she went?
They said that she went south. Aaron had texted that she went south on Maple. So I don't know if Maple is the street where that bank is on the backside of the sardine can. If that's Maple, I'm not really, sure about all those roads. So
In a final attempt, a friend took the phone trying to reason with Nikki. But her voice was broken paranoid. She accused the caller of being Doug pretending to be someone else.
Doug continued to try to call her, and it just kept going to voicemail. We started to drive around the area and kind of scope the area out and see if we could find her walking. And we drove around for probably 25 minutes, and we figured, well, let's go to the sardine can and see if she went back there. And by the time we got back, all of our friends had left, and she wasn't there. So we went.
You talked to any employees of the sardine can?
Not employees, but I talked to a bunch of the people that were out on that. The open, yeah.
What time was this that you went back to sardine can?
Man, this must have been at about 1:15 that I started to ask people. And I asked this one guy, I'm like, did you see a blonde girl, out here? And he's like, Nikki? And I'm like, yeah, But, so he's like, yeah, she left a while ago. And then I asked another guy, and this other guy knew, said her name too, which I know that sounds odd, but Nikki can get very outgoing and adventurous, where she'd be like, what's your name? I'm Nikki, that's something I've seen her do before to strangers, so I know that could that she could be very friendly in talking to people, in almost a naive way, but So we stayed there for about 20 minutes talking to people and, you know, hoping that she would come back, and Doug's still trying to call her. And then we drove around. I mean, at this point, it probably was like 1:30, 1:40. We drove around for a while again, you know, going up and down streets, trying to find her. And then, you know, her phone isn't on, so we can't get a hold of her. And we had, you know, thought maybe, hopefully, she got a taxi back or something. So then we went back to Doug's house. His phone had died by that point. And we got back there, and the babysitter was there, you know, so the babysitter left, and, you know, Nikki wasn't there. He kept trying to call her.
How many times do you think he tried to call her?
I mean, a lot.
From his cell phone?
I mean, you know, probably 20 times, you know.
After it had gone dead?
After that last conversation we had at like 12:36, yeah. I think that was the time that was dated on his phone when he was talking to the officer earlier. I think that's what he had said.
After that call, Nikki's phone went dark. No signal, no direction. In the dead of night, they drove through pitch-black streets, hoping to find the girl lost in cold and confusion.
So we kind of figured, you know, she was in jail, possibly, like the time before. Or that, you know, we didn't know where she would have walked, but we couldn't find her, you know.
What time did you leave?
I ended up dropping Doug off probably, I mean, it was late. It was probably 2:40, 2:50. I think I left his house at about 3 and went home.
Was Nikki ever in your car?
Not that night, no.
Okay.
She was not. Doug drove his car to the watering hole with Nikki, but then when we were leaving, I'm like, well, leave your car here. I'll give you a ride back to your car tomorrow. You know, we'll go to the sardine can.
Okay. Did you talk to Doug at all today?
Yeah, I mean, he texted me in the morning.
What
He asked me if he left his phone in my car, and I was like, no, you were calling Nikki in your living, you know, in your kitchen. You know,
well, you're texting you, so obviously you had
No, he Facebook messaged me.
Oh.
So I said, I know your phone is there somewhere, you know, you just gotta find it, you know. I went and looked in my car anyway, but I knew that he had called her once he got his phone on the, you know, once he charged it up. And then...
What time was that at?
I mean, I think like 9:30, 10 in the morning. And then he sent me a message back saying he still couldn't find it, that he must have lost it, and then he found his phone. And then by that time is when he was starting to get, you know, in the morning he thought maybe she was just mad and blowing off steam and went to a friend's house or something. And by noon, it was unlike her not to be back to breastfeed the kid. I mean, she's like pretty adamant, you know, no matter how mad she'd be at him, you know, if she was that mad, she'd come back and she'd take the kid and leave, you know, but
right.
I don't see any scenario whatsoever where she would not come back for Dylan. I can't imagine.
When you dropped Doug off, you dropped him off at his house?
Yeah.
And is that the address we were just at?
Yeah, that was where we were, yeah.
Okay. And who does he live there with?
With her. Nikki and Dylan,
The two of them live there?
Yeah.
So real quick, just this morning, I kind of didn't catch the whole thing. You said that he contacted you with Facebook Messenger?
Yeah, with Facebook
Okay.
Messenger.
And then you said something about noon? By noon he was...
By noon, I think he found his phone.
Okay.
But originally, he was like, I don't have it. I'm like, I know you had it. I watched you call Nikki from your kitchen, so there's no way that phone's not somewhere in your house. I don't know where you put it. But,
Did he text you around noon, or how did you know that he found it?
Yeah, he had texted me saying he found his phone at a certain point. I'm not 100% sure it was noon, but then I know that's when he started, you know, contacting every person that he knew to call that would have...
Some people at the sardine can said they saw Nikki. She introduced herself, chatted casually with strangers, then suddenly she vanished, as if swallowed by the night and the alcohol.
Had any whereabouts with Nikki, you know.
So then how did you find out, or why did you end up going back to his...
Well, I was going to give him a ride back to his car.
This afternoon?
Yeah, he had texted me about giving him a ride back to his car, and that's when, at the same time, he was talking to the sister. The sister was contacting all these different people, and that's when he was like, well, I'm going to have to call, file missing, persons if I can.
Okay.
And the scary thing for me is, like, the same way she was in that bar where these two guys knew her, that somebody, like, said, hey, you want to come into this party? Or she'd be like, yeah, I'll come into this party. That's the part that's scary, is because she's very open to...
She wouldn't have a problem asking someone for a ride? Or...
Yeah, I mean, she'd be very, oh, hey, you want to ride? You need to get home? Oh, sure, yeah. She'll get, like, adventurous and easily open to suggestion, It's almost like a challenge. You ask her, she's like, yeah, I'll do that.
Real quick, obviously drinking was involved. How much did you have to drink last night?
I mean, I probably had 3 beers earlier in the night, and about 9:30, I had stopped drinking.
How about Nikki?
I mean, I don't think Nikki had very much to drink, but like I said, I don't think it takes much before she kind of goes into like a weird place in her mind, where maybe your thoughts aren't necessarily making as much sense as they would normally.
How about Doug? How much did Doug have?
I'm not sure.
I mean, you obviously saw him drinking though.
Yeah, I mean, he's firing down some shots at people,
So at this point, do you know where Nikki's at?
I mean, no. The last moment that I was talking to her, I was trying to get her to tell us exactly where she was so I could come and pick her up. And then after that, we could never get a hold of her again, so we couldn't even get her on the phone and, try to get her to tell us something. I don't know. I mean, she's probably taking a lot of pictures at the concert, maybe recording video, and it just, crushed her battery. I don't know. But it's so unlike her to not come back for Dylan. I mean, if I had to guess, I would say Nikki probably had like 3 beers. And Doug had said that she took 1 shot with like 2 friends that she had saw out there that she knew.
They returned to Doug's house, hoping she made it back. But the house was empty. The babysitter left. Nikki wasn't there. Her phone stayed off. Not a trace.
And I don't know what she would have had at the sardine can, if anything, I'm not sure. I know Doug said that the last drink he got her was a water, so at the water.
I'm going to get straight to the point real quick. Do you think Doug had anything to do with her disappearance?
He was with me the entire time.
Okay.
I mean...
Did you have anything to do with her disappearance?
No, I definitely did not. I like Nikki. I mean, she's a very nice girl.
Any enemies that she has that you know?
I mean, I don't think so. I don't think that she's very social, with being pregnant and with being home with the kid. I mean, she does work a little bit, but I mean, I don't know any of the, I know that the girl that was babysitting works with her at this restaurant that she sometimes works at.
So who's the babysitter?
What's her name? I'm not sure. I know, I mean, I had never met her before, but I know that Doug had said that they were close.
So it's someone maybe closer to their age, friend-wise, or was it like a teenage kid, or?
It's one of Nikki's friends. I mean, they both have kids. They work together, and I think that they'll both babysit for one another once in a while. She's got a unique name. That's why I can't think of it right now. It's like Harley or something like that. I know that the other detectives got her information of what her name was and all of her info.
Well, what time did he text you to come pick him up to give him a ride back to his car?
I mean, he had texted me at about 3:30, maybe 3:45. He had asked, like, hey, are you doing anything? Can you give me a ride to the car? And then when I was on my way there, he's like, well, I called the police to to file a missing person, so I don't know if you wanna weigh it, and I was like, oh, I'll come over.
What kind of car does he drive?
A Maxima,
Color?
gray, black,
Does he have any other kind of cars?
no.
What about Nikki?
Nikki has got a Rendezvous.
What color is that one?
Brown, I'm not really sure.
Does Doug drive that?
It's in the garage. I mean, I've never seen him drive it, but I'm not sure whether he ever had in the past. I'm not sure.
By dawn, Doug had messaged and called everyone they knew. But the chilling moment came when they realized Nikki hadn't come back to breastfeed Dylan, something she had never skipped in 6 months.
Think of anything else? Here's what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna type up a quick statement about pretty much what we went over here. And then I'll come back and we can review it.
Alright.
We can make some changes if need be. And we'll go from there.
Alright.
So, need to refill the water or anything like that?
You got a water fountain out there, I'll fill it up.
I don't even know if we do. Neither of us really work in this building, so, let me see. I can grab you a bottle of water if you just wanna see if you guys use the bath? Oh,
Thank you.
real quick clarification while I'm typing this up. So when you went to the girl's house to go to the concert, you said Aaron drove everybody?
No, Mike Gillespie drove everybody.
Gillespie drove everybody.
Except for me, I took my car,
And you were alone?
Aaron rode with me, but it was the assumption that he was gonna get a ride back with Mike.
Okay, so Mike drove everybody, but you and Aaron?
Yeah, Aaron rode me just because I was gonna be alone.
Okay,
so.
okay. I'm getting there, man. But what time were you guys leaving the watering hole?
I mean, I think, the first time she called, I was like trying to figure out where she is, because at this point, she was like running.
No, I'm saying, what time were you and Doug and...
Me and Doug leaving the watering hole.
Yeah,
when you ran
into Angela Flat.
Okay.
What time would you say? You said that...
I mean, that was probably at like 11:30 that we saw her, we started talking to her, and then we were probably walking
half
out.
hour, midnight or so, okay.
Yeah.
A haunting theory began to form. What if Nikki had trusted a stranger's invitation? With her open nature, she could have accepted a ride without hesitation, never realizing the danger.
So. Well, yeah, I said I'm sitting in the interview room at the sheriff's office. I wasn't joking. Filling out my statement. About all the things that happened last night, just like the whole list of events that led to her disappearance, Well, I mean, we don't know where she is, we can't find her. So they want to I mean, I went over there to give Doug what's that? I said, well, I went over there to give Doug a ride to his car, but, he had called the missing persons report in. I figured I'd stop by there and try to help any way I could, so. And they wanted me to come and give a statement, so. I don't know. No. No one has seen or heard from her. No, but that's a good idea. Yeah. Yeah. Alright. See you, Aaron. Bye.
It only took 3 beers to knock her off balance. That night was no different. And when her phone died in the silence of the night, no one could reach her again.
A little more clarification. So, when you guys leave the watering hole, you drive to the sardine can?
Well, no. We're on our way, but this is when he's talking to her and she's already left.
Okay, so she already left. So, you said you were at this, you said you were walking to the watering hole around 11:30. So you guys...
No. Over the watering hole?
Well, and then you ran into Angela Fatlaw.
Okay, yes.
And you talked to her
Yes.
for a half hour, so then
Yeah.
it was midnight. Everybody else left at around 11:30.
Yeah.
You and Doug are at the watering hole. You talked to
Yes.
Angela till like midnight about...
Maybe a few minutes after.
Okay, so then you guys leave around midnight, let's
We're
say.
walking out the door,
Yep.
and Doug gets a phone call, and he answers it, and it's Angela saying, hey, where are you guys? You know, why aren't you here?
Okay.
But then Nikki's mad because she must have called prior to that, and he didn't answer, and then he answered when, you know, a friend of ours'
Okay,
sister
so you guys...
was married. So
Okay.
then, she, you know, I think at that point is when she's like, I'm out of here, I'm leaving. You know, so then we're sitting in the car, and Doug is talking to her and trying...
At the watering hole yet?
At the watering hole,
Okay.
yeah. So I think the first call was like 12:17 that he was talking to her.
And you guys were sitting in the watering
And we're sitting, in my car in the watering hole, and then, you know, she won't stop walking, you know, he's like, just go back to the watering hole. So then, you know, I start driving to go...
The sardine can.
To get to the sardine can, yeah.
So then you guys go to the sardine can.
Well, no. So then I pulled my car over and I said, hey, Doug, let me talk to her. Maybe I can talk to her, she'll let us know where she is.
Okay.
So then her phone, you know, dies out. He keeps trying to call back, goes straight to voicemail. So then we drove around that area a little bit.
So before you even went to the sardine can?
Before we went to the sardine
Okay.
can, we drove around for a little bit, you know, probably 20 minutes looking for her. Then we went to the sardine can to see if she went back to the sardine can. And by that time, you know, all of our friends, you know, none of them were there.
Okay. And then you guys talked to Aaron. Aaron texted you or called?
Aaron texted me
And said
he
that
texted
Nikki had
Doug.
taken off. Did he say that he saw Nikki?
Yeah, he said that he tried to stop her, but she was too bullheaded and just took off anyway. But that's, you know, at the same time that's happening is when Doug's talking to her on the phone, because at this
So
point,
Aaron texted
you know,
you?
he had texted me, and I think he
Okay.
texted Doug too, because we're like, what happened, you know, that she took off.
So
But,
where did he say that he last saw her?
I mean, he told Doug, not me, but that she was walking south on Maple Street.
Okay.
And that's where he had tried to stop her
Okay.
from
Taking off.
going. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
Yep. Aaron didn't see her while he was driving his car. They're at the tiki bar, and she went running out from there. And from there, he tried to stop her and say, hey, you know, why are you leaving? Come back in. I didn't, you know, he wasn't in a car saying, hey, jump in the car.
Oh, okay.
She just ran away from the tiki bar.
Gotcha.
Is there a bathroom right around here?
You know,
Yeah, right down to the right. I'm trying to find where I have this statement printed and I'll be done. Right there, yeah.
Doug finally found his phone around 9 a.m., but Nikki was still gone. At first, he thought she was just angry cooling off somewhere, but by noon it became clear she had completely disappeared.
Alright. If there's anything in here that we need to change, just let me know and I'll stop and cross it out and I can go back and change it.
On May 21st, 2016, I met with Ann Caters and Detective Kingston in an interview room at the Brown County Sheriff's Office. The purpose of this meeting was for me to provide information on missing persons case. I'm giving this statement voluntarily, no threats or promises have been made to me. I've been friends with Doug Dietrich for the past 17 years. We have been friends since high school and I consider him one of my best friends. Doug has been dating Nikki Vanderheiden, is that her last name?
That was her married last name.
Okay.
Meyer is like her her maiden
Her real
last
name? So she goes by Nikki Meyer?
Well, I don't know, she must have not changed her last name yet.
Okay, so
That's what Doug gave originally, was
Okay.
Vanderheiden as the name.
okay, for the past year and a half. Nikki has been living with Doug for the past year, and they have one child together. The name's Dylan, who is 6 months old. Nikki also has 2 other children, a boy and a girl, with another man who I do not know. I would consider Doug and Nikki's relationship as good. They have problems like every other couple. Nikki and Doug fight every now and then, mostly when Nikki is drinking. On one occasion, after the Packers-Cardinals playoff game, a group of friends was at the bar east, and Nikki attempted to take off walking. A Green Bay police squad picked her up and brought her back to the bar. I would consider Nikki a very good mother who is proactive. Yesterday, May 20th, 2016, a large group of friends went to the Steel Panther concert at the Watering Hole in Howard. The following people attended this concert: Aaron Grlikowski. Kalinsky?
Yeah.
I got it wrong?
Courtney Grlikowski, yeah, he went twice.
No one believed Nikki would abandon her baby. No one believed she'd walk away and not return. The only explanation left was chilling. An accident or something worse had happened the night everyone was too distracted to notice.
Kulinski.
Aaron Kalinsky, Darcy Lipsky, Crystal Kane, Mike Gillespie, Angela Cormier, Courtney Grlikowski, Scott Peterson, and I. We all met at Angela Cormier's house. Aaron drove with me, while Mike drove everyone else to the concert. We arrived at the Watering Hole around 7:30 p.m., and Doug and Nikki arrived around 8 p.m. Doug had drove Nikki to the concert in his Nissan Maxima. Around 11:30 p.m., Mike left the Watering Hole with everyone except Doug and I. As Doug and I were walking out of the bar, we ran into an old friend, Angela Fatla, who we talked to for a while. While we were talking to Angela Fatla, Angela Cormier called Doug. Is that right?
Well, no, we were walking out, going to the sardine can, and Angela called as he's like, as we're coming out of the bar, he hears his phone ring.
Okay.
And then he grabs it and answers it. And then Angela must have, said to the group, like, oh, that, I just got hold of Doug, they're on their way. And that's when Nikki freaked out at the sardine can. Not that I was there, but that's what I'm assuming.
You talked to Angela Fatla for a while you were walking out of the Watering Hole. Angela Cormier called Doug. Doug answered the phone, and they spoke to her briefly.
Yeah, where are you?
Yeah.
We're on our way.
I think Nikki had previously tried calling Doug, and he did not answer. Doug and I left the Watering Hole around midnight and drove to the sardine can where everyone else had gone.
When Doug got a call from Angela, Nikki seemed to snap. She stormed off into the night without a word. No goodbye, just a haunting silence that lingered in everyone's minds.
No. We get into his car, and that's when Nikki starts calling him.
Okay.
And that's when we know that Nikki left the sardine can. So she calls him, the first time was like 12:16.
Okay, so right
So
here,
we probably did actually walk to the car at 12:16.
okay.
We're
At
sitting-
about 12:15, Doug received a phone call from Nikki
While we're
stating
in the
she was
car.
leaving the sardine can and she
Yes.
was walking. We were sitting in my car at the watering hole
Yes.
parking lot, I changed that, at this time. Around this time, Aaron girl
See, I don't know if Aaron had sent us what happened later, you know what I mean? Because we were already talking to Nikki, so we knew she was walking away from the bar at the time, so he didn't really need to tell us that, like, he told us later, because we were like,
Okay.
what in the hell is going on? He had texted me later that, she...
So later, Aaron,
Yeah,
she
she
texted
walked.
Doug and I and said that Nikki had taken off walking. Aaron said he last knows Nikki walking south on Maple Street when he tried to stop her before she left the bar, but she was too bullheaded and took off.
Yeah.
At about 12:30 p.m., we were driving to the sardine can when Nikki called Doug and was yelling at him. I had Doug hand me the phone, and I attempted to speak with Nikki and to get her to tell me where she was. Nikki wasn't making much sense and thought I was Doug. Shortly after this, Nikki's phone went dead. Either she hung up or her phone died. Doug attempted to call her back, and her phone went straight to voicemail. At about 1:15 a.m., Doug and I drove around for about 25 minutes looking for Nikki.
Well...
At the tiki bar, Nikki bolted out the door, ignoring a friend's desperate attempt to stop her. It was impulsive, but knowing her reckless streak, no one could predict what might come next.
Between the 12:36 call and 1:15, we were looking for Nikki.
Okay.
At probably 1:15 is when we get to the sardine can and we start asking people, hey, have you seen this girl? Or we thought our best chance was that maybe she was, back at the sardine can once her phone died, or, that she ended up going back there at some point when she cooled off.
So between 12:30 and 1:15, you drove around looking for Nikki.
Yeah.
At about 1:15, Doug and I, about 1:15, you arrived at the bar, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure that that's the exact time, but we drove around that and we left,
Okay. At about 1:15, approximately.
We're driving around looking.
We were unable to find her, so we went to the sardine can. Upon arriving at the sardine can, all of our friends had left. I asked around, and two guys who I do not know said Nikki had left a while ago. We stayed at the sardine can for about 20 minutes. When we left, we drove around again looking for Nikki, but could not find her. I would guess that Doug tried calling Nikki at least 20 times without any answer.
Yeah. One of the issues that we ran into is, Aaron didn't tell us she was on Maple Street. You know what I mean? We didn't get that information until afterwards that she was on Maple. So I was just kind of guessing, I was driving up and around.
When did Aaron text you that?
Aaron texted me at 3:30 in the morning. When I got back to my house, he had texted me because we had let him know that we couldn't get a hold of her. Let me see exactly. Yeah, so I sent him a text at 12:56 saying, what did you say to Nikki, and then I don't know if my phone had died at some point, and I got this when I replugged it in and got my battery charged up, but he sent me a text saying nothing, she went off on her own.
What time was that at?
Well, the text said it's coming through at 3:31, but my phone had died, so when I plugged my phone back in, then it shows what time I received it. But he said nothing. She went off on her own. I tried to throw her away.
That's the time, 3:30 a.m. is the time.
Is the time that it came through because my phone, I put it on the charger.
In his formal statement, the friend confirmed Nikki was a good mother, but alcohol made her spiral. That night started with a few drinks and ended with a terrifying void no one could fill.
And then
so when you powered it back up,
then it popped.
Okay, all right.
He said, I tried to throw her a lifeline only because Doug is a friend, but she was too pig-headed to be reasoned with and walked off.
Okay.
So that's when I had, got that part. And he must have told Doug at some point in text that the last place he saw her was walking south on Maple.
Did he tell you that that's where he saw her?
No, he didn't. That was the only thing that I got.
How did you find out that?
Well, I was sitting there when Doug was telling the story,
Over here?
Yeah.
Did you arrive over there before the police arrived or after the police arrived?
Right before.
Okay, so you just got there before the police arrived. Okay. I asked around, and two guys who I do not know said Nikki had left a while ago. We stayed at the sardine can for about 20 minutes. When we left, we drove around again looking for Nikki, but could not find her. I would guess Doug tried calling Nikki at least 20 times without any answer. After looking for Nikki, I drove Doug back to his house in Ledgeview. We arrived around 2:40 a.m. Nikki was not home. The babysitter left a little while later. I left Doug's house at about 3 a.m. and went straight home.
Yeah, the babysitter was still there when I left.
Okay, so the babysitter was still there when you left.
She was still there. I mean, she was trying to call her too, you know, when we got back.
At about 9:30 a.m. this morning, I received a Facebook message from Doug who was looking for his phone. I told Doug his phone was at the house because he was trying to call Nikki from it last night. Correct?
Yeah, when we got back, yes.
Doug sent me a text message around noon and said he had found his phone and Nikki still was not home. At about 3:30 p.m., Doug texted me and asked me to come pick him up so he could go pick up his car. Upon arriving at his house, the police were on scene. Well, they weren't on scene until afterwards.
No, yeah, you just said, you know.
Who was at his house?
His parents.
Okay.
Because they were going to watch Dylan when I gave him a ride over to get his car.
As Doug stepped into the parking lot, his phone rang Nikki. But instead of reconciliation, there was only screaming. Amid fading music, Doug couldn't make sense of what was happening.
Yeah, you told me, you know, that he was going to fill out the missing persons report. If I didn't want to come now, you know, you'd let me know when they were gone. And I said, well, I might as well go there. And
So police arrived while you were there?
yeah, I got there probably about 2 or 3
I do not know where Nikki is currently located, and I do not have anything to do with her disappearance.
Yes.
What was Nikki last wearing?
I mean, black and gray striped shirt, black capris.
Okay. Do you remember what kind of shoes?
I mean, no, I'm not looking.
Was she wearing like...
I know what Doug said she was wearing. Doug said she was wearing like a medium heel, but
But
I
you
just
don't know
know.
what it was?
I mean, I wasn't looking at her feet, but
Okay.
yeah. He
All right.
said that she was wearing gray shoes when he did
Okay. Give me a minute to
first
change
one.
all this, and then I'll get you anyway. I've had so many issues with the printer in my life. All right. May 21st, 2016, I was in Caters and Detective Kingston in an interview room at the Brown County Sheriff's Office. The purpose of this meeting was for me to provide information on a missing persons case. I give in this statement voluntarily. No threats or promises have been made to me. I've been friends with Doug Dietrich for the past 17 years. We have been friends since high school, and I consider him one of my best friends. Doug has been dating Nikki Vanderheiden for the past year and a half. Nikki has been living with Doug for the past year, and they have one child together who is 6 months old. Nikki also has 2 other children, boy and girl, with another man who I do not know. I would consider Doug and Nikki's relationship as good. They have problems like every other couple. Nikki and Doug fight every now and then, mostly when Nikki is drinking. On one occasion, after the Packers-Cardinals playoff game, a group of friends was at the bar east. Nikki attempted to take off walking. A Green Bay police squad picked her up and brought her back to the bar. I would consider Nikki a very good mother who is proactive. Yesterday, May 20th, 2016, a large group of friends went to the Steel Panther concert at the Watering Hole in Howard. The following people attended this concert: Aaron Kolinsky, is that correct? I got it right? All right. Darcy Lipsky, Crystal Kane, Mike Gillespie, Angela Cormier, Courtney Grolkowski, Scott Peterson, and I. We all met at Angela Cormier's house. Aaron drove with me, while Mike drove everyone else to the concert. We arrived at the Watering Hole around 7:30 p.m., and Doug and Nikki arrived around 8 p.m. Doug had drove Nikki to the concert in his Nissan Maxima. Around 11:30 p.m., Mike left the Watering Hole with everyone except Doug and I. As Doug and I were walking out of the bar, we ran into an old friend, Angela Fatla, who we talked to for a while. While we were walking over the bar, Angela Cormier called Doug. Doug answered the phone and spoke with her briefly. I think Nikki had previously tried calling Doug, and he did not answer. At about 12:15 a.m., Doug received a phone call from Nikki, who stated that she was leaving the sardine can and she was walking. We were sitting in my car in the Watering Hole parking lot at this time. At about 12:30 a.m., we were driving to the sardine can when Nikki called Doug and was yelling at him. I had Doug hand me the phone, and I attempted to speak with Nikki and get her to tell me where she was. Nikki wasn't making much sense and thought that I was Doug. Shortly after this, Nikki's phone went dead. Either she hung up or the phone died. Doug attempted to call her back and her phone went straight to voicemail. Between 12:30 a.m. and about 1:15 a.m., we drove around the area looking for Nikki. We were unable to find her, so we went to the sardine can. Upon arriving at the sardine can, all of our friends had left. I asked around, two guys who I do not know said Nikki had left a while ago. We stayed at the sardine can for about 20 minutes. When we left, we drove around, began looking for Nikki, but could not find her. I would guess that Doug tried calling Nikki at least 20 times without any answer. After looking for Nikki, I drove Doug back to his house in Ledgeview. We arrived around 2:40 a.m. Nikki was not home. I left Doug's house at about 3 a.m.
At 12:30 a.m., Nikki made her final call. Her voice was erratic, confused. When Doug's friend took the phone, Nikki accused him of being Doug. In disguise a chilling sign, her mind was unraveling.
And the babysitter was still at the house. I then went straight home. At about 3:30 a.m., I turned my phone back on because it was dead. Aaron Kowinski texted me and said that Nikki had taken off walking from the sardine can. Aaron said he tried to stop her before she left the bar, but said she was too pig-headed and took off. At about 9:30 a.m. this morning, I received a Facebook message from Doug, who was looking for his phone. I told Doug his phone was at his house because he was trying to call Nikki from it. Doug sent me a text message around noon, said he found his phone and Nikki still was not home. At around 3:30 p.m., Doug texted me and asked me to come pick him up so he could go pick up his car. Upon arriving at his house, his parents were over. The police arrived a little while later to take a missing persons report for Nikki. I do not know where Nikki is currently located, and I did not have anything to do with her disappearance. I last saw Nikki wearing a black and gray striped top and black capris.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to say this, but, so, that call, Nikki called. The next two calls was Doug calling Nikki back, because the first call was...
Well, we gotta get it right, so...
Yeah, the first call was Nikki saying, I'm walking,
so
I'm leaving.
this call was Nikki.
I believe this is how it happened, yes. The first call was
Doug
Nikki
received a call from Nikki.
calling Doug, telling him she was leaving the sardine can.
Okay. So,
And then the next two calls was Doug calling her back, like, what are you talking about?
At 12:30 a.m., Doug called.
I mean, I think there was a call in between the...
Doug called Nikki.
In between, I mean, you know, they were going through his phone records and all that.
Well, just go off of what you remember.
Yeah.
Don't go off of what he said at the house.
Then it was just, you know, a bunch of calls, you know.
Okay.
But I think he was trying to call her back.
So
After the first one...
So right now there's two phone calls in here. There's one about Nikki when she called and said she was leaving the sardine can
Yes.
for walking. So that was definitely Nikki that called there.
I think she called right after Doug got off the phone with Angela,
Okay.
and she was mad at him
And that would be the
because
first
he
call.
answered that call.
Okay, so then the
But-
next call we have in here,
Yes.
we only have two calls. We don't have three calls.
After that call, Nikki's phone went dark. She vanished into the freezing night. The two friends drove for 25 minutes, searching every street, but there wasn't a single trace of her.
We have two calls. We have one where Nikki's calling Doug saying, I'm leaving the sardine can. The next call we have is the one where she's yelling at Doug. You tell Doug to hand you the phone goes to you, and then you talk to her. So was that call made by Doug?
Yes, every call that was made after Nikki had called were made by Doug trying to get Nikki not to leave the sardine can.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, what are you doing? Where are you?
Okay.
So that first call was her calling to, you know, tell him he's an asshole and that she's leaving the sardine can.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next calls were him trying to get a hold of her so that, you know, we could pick her up or she needed to go back to the
Because
sardine.
we only have two phone calls listed here, and I want to make sure that we have...
But, I mean, I was driving, you know,
Yeah.
so I'm not sure if she hung up and he redialed, you know, if there were these multiple calls, but the last call...
The call where who called?
The last call, I pulled over.
Yep, and who made that call?
I believe Doug made that call trying to get her to...
Okay, all right, I'm gonna go make that change and then, we'll go from there. All right.
Yeah, let's try this.
Amazing. Going through a ream of paper here.
I know.
On May 21st, 2016, I met with Caters and Detective Kingston in an interview room at the Brown County Sheriff's Office. The purpose of this meeting was for me to provide information on a missing persons case. I'm giving this statement voluntarily. No threats or promises have been made to me. I've been friends with Doug Dietrich for the past 17 years. We have been friends since high school, and I consider him one of my best friends. Doug has been dating Nikki Vanderheiden for the past year and a half. Nikki has been living with Doug for the past year, and they have one child together who is 6 months old. Nikki also has 2 other children with another man who I do not know. I would consider Doug and Nikki's relationship as good. They have problems like every other couple. Nikki and Doug fight every now and then, mostly when Nikki is drinking. On one occasion, after the Packers-Cardinals playoff game, a group of friends went to the bar east and Nikki attempted to take off walking. A Green Bay police squad picked her up and brought her back to the bar. I would consider Nikki a very good mother who was proactive. Yesterday, May 20th, 2016, a large group of friends went to the Steel Panther concert at the Watering Hole in Howard. The following people attended this concert: Aaron Kolinsky, Darcy Lipsky, Crystal Kane, Mike Gillespie, Angela Cormier, Courtney Gerlikowski, Scott Peterson, and I. We all met at Angela Cormier's house. Aaron drove with me while Mike drove everyone else to the concert. We arrived at the Watering Hole around 7:30 p.m. and Doug and Nikki arrived around 8 p.m. Doug had drove Nikki to the concert in his Nissan Maxima. Around 11:30 p.m., Mike left the Watering Hole with everyone except Doug and I. As Doug and I were walking over the bar, we ran into an old friend, Angela Fatla, who we talked to for a while. While we were walking over the bar, Cormier called Doug. Doug answered the phone and spoke to her briefly. I think Nikki had previously tried calling Doug, and he did not answer. At about 12:15 a.m., Doug had received a phone call from Nikki, who stated she was leaving the sardine can and she was walking. We were sitting in the car in the Watering Hole parking lot at this time. At about 12:30 a.m., we were driving to the sardine can. Doug called Nikki, and she began yelling at him. I had Doug hand me the phone, and I attempted to speak with Nikki and get her to tell me where she was. Nikki wasn't making much sense and thought that I was Doug. Shortly after this, Nikki's phone went dead. Either she hung up or her phone died. Doug attempted to call her back, and her phone went straight to voicemail. Between 12:30 a.m. and 1:15 a.m., we drove around the area looking for Nikki.
By 1:15 a.m., Doug was still calling, but it was just voicemail. A gnawing dread began to grow. No one knew it yet, but they were witnessing the final moments before a tragedy unfolded.
We were unable to find her, so we went to the sardine can. Upon arriving at the sardine can, all of our friends had left. I asked around, and 2 guys who I did not know, or do not know, said Nikki had left a while ago. We stayed at the sardine can for about 20 minutes. When we left, we drove around again looking for Nikki, but could not find her. I would guess that Doug tried calling Nikki at least 20 times without any answer. After looking for Nikki, I drove Doug back to his house in Ledgeview. We arrived around 2:40 a.m. Nikki was not home. I left Doug's house around 3 a.m. and the babysitter was still at the house. I then went straight home. At about 3:30 a.m., I turned my phone back on because it was dead. Aaron Kolinsky texted me and said that Nikki had taken off from the sardine can. Aaron said he tried to stop her before she left the bar, but said she was too pig-headed and took off. At about 9:30 a.m. this morning, I received a Facebook message from Doug, who was looking for his phone. I told Doug his phone was at his house because he was trying to call Nikki from it. Doug sent me a text message around noon and said he found his phone and Nikki still was not home. Around 3:30 p.m., Doug texted me and asked me to come pick him up so he could pick up his car. Upon arriving at his house, his parents were over. The police arrived a little while later to take a missing person report for Nikki. I do not know where Nikki is currently located, and I did not have anything to do with her disappearance. I last saw Nikki wearing a black and gray striped top and black capris. Good? Yeah. All right, signature there and there. All right. That's the 21st, and you'll probably have to get all your phones at the time. As a witness, and I just got 2 more forms for you here in a second. Grab my binder. Maybe I'll go just wait for a second. Just 1 second.
The final statement at the sheriff's office painted a painful picture. Nikki, a devoted mother who only needed a few drinks to lose her grip on reality, had vanished without a trace.
All right, man, you're almost out of here. All right, I got 2 consent forms, basically. I'll explain this all to you. So basically, in an investigation like this, because you were one of the last people to see her, obviously, we like to get consent for, what we're asking for is consent on your phone. Basically, what we would do is we have a computer here, we hook your phone up to it, and it'll give us like your text messages and your phone calls between you and Doug and whoever else. So we would need a consent form for that. Okay? Do you understand what I'm saying?
I understand, but I'm starting not to like this.
No.
I mean, I was trying to cooperate.
No, you are.
And now
I appreciate it.
you want to investigate me? I mean,
Well, no,
I don't think I want to do that.
No,
I don't think I want to do the consent form.
Here's what you need to understand. We have to eliminate people from this investigation, and this is our easiest way, quickest way to eliminate people. So basically, your cooperation, your statement, that's awesome, I appreciate it. That's going a long way, it's helping us.
I'm just trying to help out.
No, I get it, and you're pointing us in the right direction. But in order to completely eliminate everything, basically, the consent on the phone would be...
Since that has nothing to do with it,
I agree with you.
Eliminated already by not having
I
anything
agree with
to
you.
do with this.
And this would put that over the top and say, hey, 100% without a doubt, this dude was not involved in her disappearance whatsoever.
Man, I already know that I'm not involved in this disappearance. I think you should be trying to look at better avenues
I get it.
of finding where she is.
I get it. That's where we're trying to go. And maybe your phone will eliminate you, and then we can move on to the next person. It will eliminate you. So, I mean, basically that's...
So what do you have to do with my phone?
So basically, we have a computer, there's an analyst here, he's a crime analyst. Basically, he will just hook your phone up to the computer, download it, and basically whatever you had in your contact, not your contact list, but, well, your contact list, your, like, incoming, outgoing calls, text messages, and then that's it. So, that's kind of the whole spiel of it all, for the phone. So,
Yes.
You got it?
Yes.
Okay. You wanna get your phone out and just tell me the time right now? I appreciate your cooperation, man, and I will get you out of here as soon as possible and get this over with. Middle initial again?
J.
And spell your last name again.
Matthew, M-A-T-H-U.
M-A-T-H-U. And your date of birth again?
12/9/81.
81 makes you what, 34? 34. And give me your address again,
1703 Grandview Road.
What is that, an iPhone?
Yes, 4.
Is it just iPhone 4?
Yeah.
Do you have an IMEI number on the back of this?
At 12:30 a.m., Doug received his final call from Nikki. She screamed into the phone, frantic and disoriented. When his friend took the phone, Nikki thought it was Doug impersonating him. Then silence.
Alright, just need a signature there real quick. Alright, give me 1 minute, I'm gonna wrap this off, and, so you can hurry up and get it done, and then we'll get you out of here. Alright, and then the last consent to search is for your car, and the reason it's for your car is because Greg was in it. Doug, sorry, buddy.
It's been a long day already. Doug was in it, so we'd like to search your car for any type of evidence that may or may not be there related to her disappearance.
How long is this gonna take?
Well, the phone, he's got it hooked up right
I
now,
know.
so as soon as he can get it downloaded, he's gonna let me know. And literally, if you want, you can bounce out of here, we can run over to Quick Trip, get you something to eat, get you something to drink, whatever you need. And then, as soon as he's done, you're good to go. As far as the car goes, it's gonna be dependent upon how quick the crime lab can get over here to go through the car. So that's what that's about. So, it's an unfortunate set of situations.
She was never in my car.
She wasn't.
You know,
She wasn't, but Doug was. And Doug's who she lives with. So, that's the reason. So I'm trying to be as quick as possible. I'm trying to make this as easy, man.
Not as quick as possible.
I know.
It's not as easy as
Hey,
possible.
and you've been super cooperative so
Yeah,
far, and
I
I
was,
appreciate
but
it.
now you're, I mean,
We're just trying to get to the bottom of Nikki's disappearance, man. That's the bottom line. I mean, we're not doing this to inconvenience you by any means. I mean, if we knew where Nikki was, we wouldn't be sitting here, we wouldn't be talking about this, everything would be good to go. So, that's what this is all about, is finding her, getting her back home, you know, finding her child's mother, the whole nine yards, you know? So, it sucks. It's Saturday night. Do you think I want to be here on Saturday night? I was supposed to be home with my family enjoying a bonfire, and here I am, you know? So, I don't know. I'm going to try to help you out as much as I can and speed this along as much as possible and push it. So, I mean, I'll do what I can, man. So what's your thoughts?
I mean, am I charged right now?
No, absolutely not.
I can leave at any time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I would like to go.
Okay.
I really would. I mean, I'm really frustrated right now
Okay, well, here's the deal.
because I had nothing. Nikki is my friend.
Are you, okay, are you gonna wait for your phone? You want me to call you, do you want me to drop it off? What do you want me to do?
I think we're going to smoke a cigarette.
All right,
and I'll think about it.
Sure. You got stuff in there? Do you know what kind of car, what your car is, like the model and all that?
2002 Buick Park Avenue.
Now the detectives requested access to the man's phone and vehicle. He was the last known person to speak with Nikki. And even as just a friend, no one was above suspicion anymore.
Do you know the license plate?
NLV 520.
What color is that, tan?
Black.
Can you remember which one is it?
J.
Your date of birth again?
12/9/81.
And you're 34. There's a 1703 Grandview.
Yes.
Alright, basically, this is just giving consent for your 2002 Buick Park Avenue black in color, NLV 520. Do you have a key for that?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, you wanna give me the key real quick, and then I'll go get this to the boss, and then we can get on that right away? Do I have to run the ignition too?
Yeah.
So it does it all?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I think you have to pop the trunk. I don't think the
From
key.
the inside?
Yeah, I don't think the key actually goes and
Okay.
opens it. I think the
All right.
locks broke.
In a few minutes. Let me go give this to boss and we'll get your costs through. Need to have water or anything?
What's that?
You good with water? You got chocolate milk? All right, so I'll go check your phone right now and I'll get you out of here.
Thank you.
Or if you want, do you have somebody that you want to call on my phone? Do you know their number? And then you can just get them rolling over here at least?
I don't know. I was gonna call my buddy Dustin. I don't know what his number is.
Okay, let me see if I can get it. I just ask you a couple follow-up questions and they're almost done with your vehicle.
Alright.
It's in airplane mode, but you can turn it off airplane mode and then you can do whatever you gotta do. And I'll have your car back to you here in a minute.
An old iPhone 4 was connected. Messages, calls all downloaded to clear his name. Outside, a black Buick waited to be processed. It wasn't about trust anymore. It was about ruling everyone out one by one.
Hold on a second. All right, I don't know if I... Good?
Come pick me up a quick trip.
You can take your car, dude.
I mean, sure.
Yeah. They'll be done in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
They gotta take a couple pictures and then be good. Yeah, I call him another one. Fucking sweating my ass off.
Yeah, never mind. I guess my car is supposed to be done. Okay. Alright. Bye, listen. Well, I'm home. I didn't do anything, so we should be. I don't know. Nobody said anything like that, but. No, they did not. I did tell the other detective that you had sent me that text right before I gave my phone. But. Alright. See ya.
All right, real quick, they're just going through your car, and there was just a couple things, not the pipe, that they noticed. On the back trunk of your car, there's a handprint and like some dust.
Okay.
Do you know how that got there?
I have no idea. What do you mean, like on the back?
On the trunk lid, there's a handprint, and then it looks like the handprint's like smeared, like fingers, like this. Do you know how that got there? Did
Holding
you?
it open, I have no idea.
No, it's like on the top. It won't be like where you pulled it open, because like you pull it open down here. This is like, you know, this is like the trunk right here, and this is like where it opens, you know, and it goes like this. Like the handprint's like here, and then it kind of like swipes across. Do you remember ever noticing that?
No, I've never seen that.
Okay, so you don't know. Did you have your car washed recently?
Oh my God.
I don't know, dude.
No.
I don't know. I know some people.
I probably haven't washed my car in 3 years. I mean.
Okay. Alright, so, and then, that was about it, the cracked windshield?
I went to adjust my mirror, and the whole thing cracked. Like 9 months ago,
Yeah.
my parents, anybody you talked to,
Okay.
clarified that was cracked before winter. I thought during winter that it was going to spider web, and I'd have to get a new windshield, but it didn't. It never moved, so.
So that was before winter, and
gotta tell you, I gotta write myself a couple of notes, you know. So, you haven't washed your car recently? I'm trying to think when the hell the last time it rained out, because obviously we get it washed off.
You're not under arrest. You can leave. But the tension was real. Behind his cooperation was fatigue, frustration, and the bitter taste of being treated like a suspect for trying to help.
Don't wash the car, and you have no clue where those handprints came from. I mean, do you think...
I don't know if I was like climbing around back there trying to...
No, it doesn't look like the size of our handprint. It looks like a girl's handprint, to be honest with you.
It certainly was not a girl's handprint.
Okay, but you have no idea how that got there?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, well, you'll see when you go outside. All right, that is about all I have for you tonight. I thank you very much for your cooperation.
I'm trying to cooperate.
No, I get it, man. I mean,
It's just such a
literally
crazy
this
situation.
it's crazy, and literally you helped us.
Vacation day. Yesterday to have fun at this concert.
You helped us out a ton, so
I'm dealing with like the most insane situation I could ever imagine. You know, it's so
Yeah.
crazy that.
that's my cell number right there, my work cell. So if you have any questions related to this, give me a call anytime. If you remember something that might help us out, if you remember how those handprints got in your trunk, let us know right away. I can come out and talk to you. You can come talk to me, whatever you want to do. So, like I said, I greatly appreciate your cooperation, and if you want, we can go outside, you can have a smoke real quick, and then hopefully your car's done shortly.
I'm all out of cigarettes.
Oh, actually, hold on, sit down, I'll grab you some. Is it Camels?
Yeah.
Or does it matter?
Let's just walk a quick trip.
Well, no, I got a pack right back here, brand new
All
pack,
right.
just hang tight.
The interrogation ended with a thank you, but the closing words left a quiet unease. If you remember anything, especially about the handprint, call us right away. It wasn't a goodbye. It was a warning in disguise. Before leaving the station, the man asked for a cigarette. The night breeze offered little relief. Deep down, he knew something terrible had happened, and somehow he'd brushed up against the edge of it.